Morning, welcome back to the channel. Yes, it's that time of year again where if you've got a very damp garage like mine, you have to think about protecting your bike over the winter months. Now, I've always applied ACF 50 to my bikes once a year using a rag, always found it a complete pain in the arse, and lo and behold, I watched one of my mates' videos, Steve, aka the Exeter Rider, and he demonstrated a man toy, which is this here. I just had to go out and buy one off Amazon. So I'm doing all of my bikes. For the purposes of this video, I'm only going to do the BMW. Now, I do need to start, as with any bike, you need to start with a clean and dry bike. And this is filthy, so it needs washing anyway. So I thought I might as well film that part of the process, although I won't dwell too much on the washing of the bike because it's a bit of a cheat. This bike has been fully PPF'd, paint protective film coated and ceramic coated as well. So all of the bodywork, all of the panels literally just need a rub down with a sponge. Best investment I ever made on a bike like this. Wasn't cheap, but by God, it's so easy to clean. However, things like the engine bay and the wheels, which are prone to rust, and like all of the screws, all of the nooks and crannies, that's what I will be demonstrating today on this video with the ACF 50 spray gun. Okay, first part of the process is this. I've gone against using, I don't know how to turn this off. I've gone against using a power washer. This is, as you can see, Demon Foam, which you can buy from Halfords and places like this. And it plugs into your hose pipe, which is a lot better, believe me, than blasting the bike with a power washer. I've gone right off that. On a bike like this is probably the only bike I still use with a power washer because it doesn't have any plastic decals or stickers on it anywhere. Over the last years, I've lifted the stickers off my bikes using the power washer, and you just don't know what sort of damage it does to the intricate parts within inside the engine bay as well, certainly where the radiator is as well, using the power washer. So I came across this stuff, and like I say, well, as you can see, it just plugs straight into your hose pipe. And let's face it, not everybody has a power washer as well. I think I paid about 20 quid for this. So this is the first part of my washing process. I just spray the whole bike down. I fully believe in snow foam like this anyway because it loosens all the dirt and the crud, especially on the wheels and underneath the wheels as well. So get in right under there as well. And this is the great thing about just it's a sort of gentle pressure from the hose pipe inside the bearings as well. Everything just covered in this stuff. This really does loosen everything up. So once that part is done, I go off and make my first cup of coffee of the process and wait about 20 minutes for that just to settle in nicely and, like I say, loosen everything up. And if I could work out how to switch it off, it would be even quicker. Okay, next part of the process, just rinse everything down with the normal hose pipe nozzle attached. And get rid of all of the suds, because one thing you don't want is any streaks left on your bike. It's not too bad at this stage anyway, because we are going to be using a bucket and water with shampoo, so I'll come on to that in a moment, but we'll just get rid of all of the suds at the moment. You can see already it's far more gentle using just a regular hose pipe than a power washer. And actually I can tell, I don't know if you can on the camera, but the bike again, now whether it's because it has the PPF wrapping on the bike, but it's come up absolutely gleaming already. It nearly doesn't need a shampoo, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's what I do with all of my bikes. Okay, time for the bucket of water. Couple of things to Bear in mind here, always use a clean sponge. If you use a sponge from your last wash, you can bet your bottom dollar you've picked up a tiny little bit of grit somewhere on the sponge. For what the cost, I always just keep a big supply of sponges in my garage there. Always use a clean sponge. Next thing, I think I might have already mentioned that in the video, is use a streak-free shampoo. And ideally, not something too abrasive. Even hot soapy water will do for this part, but I do like to use a dedicated shampoo. I love, I know I'm not here to plug products, by the way, but I'm just telling you what I'm using. I love using the Auto Bright Direct products. I find I've had amazing results from them, and they do a whole range specifically for motorcycles, so they know what they're doing there. So I just get myself that stuff. Actually, if I wasn't showing you this bike with the PPF on it and the ceramic pro coating on it, I would be using an Auto Bright Direct as well. They do this fabulous. In fact, why don't I show you now? Bear with me. There you go. So they do that product there, which is a ceramic quick detailer. I get amazing results with that on all my other bikes, but like I say, don't need to be using it with this. So in fact, you shouldn't use it with the plastic, the paint protective film on it, PPF. Right, we'll carry on with the this part of the process. Where's my sponge? The other tip I'll give you for this is always start, sorry if you're looking at my backside there, always start at the top of the bike and work down, because you're far less likely to be picking up tiny bits of stones on the top of the bike. So I always leave the wheels, well, the engine, then the wheels until last. Okay, I'll just fast forward through this part of the process. Okay, time to wash down the suds again, just with the normal hose pipe, just to stop anything streaking really. And again, because it's PPF'd and ceramic pro coated, it doesn't take a lot of effort to do this. I know I keep mentioning the PPF and I'm sorry about that. It's just, to me, it was one of the best things I've ever done to a motorbike. It wasn't cheap to have the ACF 50 done professionally, to have the PPF, the paint protective film, over every single panel that you see, and then the ceramic pro coating on the wheels, over all of the engine parts, everything. Like, the guy literally took the bike apart to get into nooks and crannies. It was incredible to watch the process. It cost me €900, not cheap at all, but it protects my investment, you know. I wish I could afford to get it done on all my other bikes, but not to worry. Bring in the big guns. I love this thing. It's basically just an industrial hairdryer. It is actually labelled a motorcycle dryer. Can't remember who told me about this in the first place. Probably the X rider again. He's a man who likes his gadgets, but I also trust what he says as well. So everything he's recommended on his channel, which I've picked up on, it's always worked. So I love this thing. In fact, I used it on my head once. Can you see that there? It gave me an old Friar Tuck spot. I'm only kidding, of course I didn't. But my wife thinks it's hilarious that I bought a hairdryer for my motorbike. Right, okay, without further ado, let's get all of this water off the bike. Okay, now it's time to use my favourite toy. The number of years I have spent using this sprayer, which comes with the bottle of ACF 50. The hardship that is caused, it always comes out of the sprayer here, no matter what sprayer you use, it always comes out gloopy, and you end up spending hours afterwards trying to wipe it all off the bike, and you can never get into the nooks and crannies of the bike. So that's why this thing is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so first things first, we screw off this. Actually, before we do, I'm going to show you something which I found very important. Now, I have tested this out on my Street Triple, and I used this nozzle which came attached to the hose I hope you can see that there. I used that one. It came out still far too gloopy on that nozzle. So it also comes with this spare nozzle in the box. So I don't know what way, if you're buying one of these, that yours will come configured, but use the one you see on the spray there now. It comes out in a much, much finer mist. Again, this sprayer is for spraying your fences with paint. So when you use this, it comes out in a much finer mist. All it is basically is another hairdryer, except it heats up the fluid you have in the container here and therefore creates a lovely fine mist. The great thing about ACF 50 is that it is an active ingredient, and what I mean by that is that when you spray it onto the bike, think of it like a sperm. It finds its way into nooks and crannies. And what on earth has just happened there? And so it finds its way into all of the intricate parts, places man has never been before. Certainly places you could never get your fingers. What on earth is happening? Seriously, you know what I'm trying to say, okay? When you spray the ACF 50 on in a mist, it gets into the fine, delicate parts that you can't get to with a cloth. Right, back on track, Dave. Let's get the ACF 50 into the container. Now, the other great thing about this is that it hardly uses any of your ACF 50. I've put far too much in there. I'm doing this purely for video purposes. But I'd say a bottle like this, after using it on my street triple, I'd say a bottle like this will last me for years. So before we get spraying, the last place you want to get the ACF 50 is on your brake calipers or your brake discs. Here's my dog, Monto. How are you doing, kid? I'd say he's been in the house listening to me, wondering where the voice is coming from. Are you coming to help me clean? So just grab a couple of old t-shirts like this and wrap them around your brake calipers and your brake discs. I go over the inside of the wheel hub there with a cloth, the good old-fashioned way afterwards, because I just don't want to risk spraying any of the brake discs or the brake calipers. So just like that, they're all covered up there now. Same on the other side and the same on the rear. Okay, now it's time. So you really just need to put a fine mist on. You can spray everywhere. And it'll work its way into all of the nooks and crannies. Coming out lovely and fine there. Now, that pretty much is it. You can't tell me this bike doesn't look amazing. And before you take to your keyboard, don't worry, it was a joke. To me, the bike is still one of the best looking bikes I've ever seen. That's why I like to protect my investment. So I hope you learned a thing or two from that. Admittedly, I did go a bit thick in a few places, but it was purely for demonstration purposes on the video. I was just trying to make sure you could see the actual product going on. So I'm going to wipe that off now with these old t-shirts. So yeah, have a great week, everybody. Thanks a million for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here. You might think about liking and subscribing to the channel. Lots more interesting content and useless information, as well as very useful information coming to the channel very soon. I hope you enjoyed the nooks and the crannies of this 1300 GSA. Ride safe. Have a great week, everybody. Dave Perry, WheelieGoodTV. It's a wrap.